welcome to the March stats. The first quarter of our market of 2024 is in the rear view mirror, and got some interesting stats to show you. I think you're going to be pretty impressed with this video. It's going to cover a lot of ground, but believe me, if you are looking at the market, whether you're buying, whether you're selling, or whether you're just curious, well, let's just kick things off with taking a look at this map of Calgary and looking at the various quadrants. You know, we've divided Calgary now into 8 quadrants. This is what happened last month. So this is just the stats for March, and these are median prices. So they do include condo, but this is what you can expect to be up in the north now: 570, 649.8 in the northwest, 516 in the northeast, which is amazing that it's catching up. But look at this, 17.3% increase year over year in the northeast. Isn't that incredible? 11.2% in the northwest, 12% in the north. City center, though, only 5.4%. But there's a lot of condos that are in there as well. 11.7 in the west, and they're of course sitting at 719, which is the highest, understandable. Coming down south, 11.7% at 585,900, 584 in the southeast, 11%, and then the east, which is unbelievable as well. And you know, recently I just sold a property in the east that went for 100 more than the asking price. And I think primarily we're seeing this kind of an increase because it's the lowest price real estate at 436,200. So this is a really affordable market. And we are getting a lot of people that are new to Calgary that are on maybe tighter budgets that are definitely looking in this area. So this is a good gauge. If you're new to Calgary or you're looking at the market, this is what you can expect to pay. And again, this includes condo. So keep that in mind. If you're looking to buy just a condo, well, these numbers are going to be a lot lower. If you're looking for a detached house, these numbers are going to be a little bit higher. Okay, so here's the numbers I always like to look at. March of 23, the market sold 2,424 properties. We were up 9.9% at 2664, which is amazing considering, look at the inventory. A year ago, we had 3,235 with 3,314 listings. This past month in March of 24, we had only 2,532 listings. So that's 21.73% lower than a year ago. And only 3,172 new listings, which is down 4.28%. So it's obvious when you're same scenario. I almost sound like a broken record every month lately when it comes to these stats, that high demand, low inventory, and this is why you're looking at the sales to list price at 101.71%. So almost every listing was selling for around the ask price or maybe a little bit higher. In some cases, some extremely high prices over the ask price. And that's why I always mention in these videos, you need a strategy. If you're a buyer in this market, you need a strategy. And I'll give you a little success story. I just actually helped my daughter buy a condo, and we managed to find an off-market property, and we didn't have to compete. So if you want information about how to do that, I have a strategy and how I work for that. So if you're buying, how nice would it be if you could find a property that wasn't on the market? Maybe you can make an offer without having to get into a bidding war. That would be really nice. If you're a seller, on the other hand, not what I would recommend. I think you can do a lot better going on the open market and create the bidding war and actually, you know, be maybe well over the 101.71% there. So regardless of all of these stats, our benchmark price, as you can see, in March of 23 was 539. We've made a big jump, 10.85% at 597,600. It's a pretty big jump considering that condos are in there as well. So that's just indicative of a low supply, high demand market. And this chart, which I always like to show, the blue is the inventory. So you can see we are hovering at the lowest inventory that we've seen all the way back. You know, in fact, it's 25 years I've been doing this. I've never seen inventory in Calgary so low. And the sad thing is, when you consider all the way back in 2009, we didn't have 1.5 million people living here either. So, you know, we had more inventory and we didn't have nearly the population. So the red is showing us, as you can see, where the price increases are. This is, again, just for the month of March when you look at this one bar right here. So just keep that in mind. So this chart, we're looking at the detached houses, and you can see the absorption rate off the charts. Here we are now in the spring market. This is where even more buyers do come into the market because people like to move when it's warm in Calgary. A lot less people want to move in the wintertime when it's cold. So it's not a surprise to see that the demand is there, and it's, you know, it's pushed up our benchmark price to 739,700. That's again just in the month of March. We are at for the whole year we're at 721. So that's we are down here, which is a 6.7% increase year over year. And coming back to here, just for the month of March, we're up 14% from March of 2023. So just again, it's a broken record. We're just seeing higher increase in prices. People keep asking me, you know, is this going to level off at some point, or is this how it's going to be, you know, for this whole year of 2024? I wish I really had the crystal ball and knowing what will happen, but I'm really hoping, believe me, I am hoping that some more people decide to put their house on the market and make the move. We just need some more inventory to settle things down. That's really what we have to see happen. Here's the hard numbers: 1,151. So just to, you know, as the properties came on the market, they sold. So I mean, there just wasn't anything that didn't sell. Although, if you look at some of the houses, there were some houses that that also didn't sell, which it's kind of hard when you look at these numbers and say, well, that means every single house sold. But this is factoring in new listings that come onto the market. We still do have some people out there who are overpricing their property and they're not moving. So just keep that in mind, because there's always a few people that are unrealistic in what they want to get for their property. 20 days on the market, which is not a long time considering that that's factored into properties with conditions. Here's the chart I always like to look at. You can see now 600 to 700 has taken first place in the amount of the percentage of homes that have sold in this price range. So we're almost at 26% of the market between $600,000 and $700,000, and 500 to 600 for detached homes is losing every single day, and you know, 400 and 500 is now only 4% of the market. So you know, if this keeps going the way we're going, you will see 700 to 800 take top spot. I mean, that was 21.56%. So that's not very far off. So I could see if this market continues the way we're going, by summer, the top spot could be $700,000 to $800,000. And there's that that luxury market there, that 1 million to 1.5 million, almost 10% of the market. That's really quite incredible to see that. We've had 263 properties so far this year sell between $1 million and $1.5 million, and that just goes to show that we do have people that are in a financial position to buy these homes. There's a high demand for them, and they're moving, and so I'm quite confident we're going to see more of this as we move into 2024. And a lot of people coming here from BC and Ontario, they don't see $1 million to $1.5 million as that expensive coming from their market. So just put things into perspective. If you were moving here from Regina, that would seem like a lot, but coming from Toronto, not so much. Now look at our attached market, and our absorption rate is off the charts at 121%. I mean, this is insane, but it's the next best thing to buying a detached home, because, you know, they build a lot of really nice attached properties now. I mean, you just happen to be attached to somebody else, but when you walk into these homes, you'd never know once you're inside that you're even attached. So This is becoming more common, and as you may have heard, there's a big debate going on in Calgary. Well, not really a debate, but the city wants to allow the ability to rezone anything and build multifamily in any community in Calgary. And there's a heated debate about it. I don't know where this is going to end up, but it's supposed to happen sometime this month. But I mean, that just means there's going to be a lot more attached properties, but keep in mind it's a little bit more affordable, and that's why our benchmark price is $658,000 year over year. I mean, that's up 13%. For the entire year so far, we're at 640 so far in 2024. And that's why I said to you, if you can get into the mid sixes for a nice attached property, obviously there's a really high demand for that price point for a lot of buyers. And you can see the hard numbers: 250 sold out of 205 that were active at any given time throughout the month. 21 days on the market, but you can see right here, there it is, 500 to 600,000 was the biggest part of the market. 17.48% was 6 to 700,000, but that's really the sweet spot that people like to try to find. And there's a lot of attached properties in Calgary, especially in that high fives to low sixes that are really nice. You'll see a lot of the newer communities have built a lot of beautiful attached properties. It doesn't cost as much for the builder to build them, so it keeps the price down. But look at here at 800 to 900,000. So this is your inner city attached properties. And I'm kind of blown away by this, but even $1 million to $1.5 million now is almost 9%. So you can see that people in the luxury market are very comfortable buying some beautiful attached properties in the inner city, and that's just it's probably just going to keep continuing to happen. There's a big demand, more than I've ever seen, for inner city properties, and they're just, again, there's just not quite enough supply to meet the demand. So welcome to townhouses. This chart's never changed. Well, look at it. For the last year, it's really never changed. It's just constantly 126% absorption rate. There's just no end to townhouses. 448,700 was the benchmark price. That's up a whopping 20% from a year ago. So far this year, we're at 437,000 for the whole year, but in the month of March, 448,700. So it's really creeping up for townhouses, and there's a lot of them that they're building in newer neighborhoods as well. 3 stories, they're lovely. A lot of them come with 2-car garages. They're really trying to build more of these because if you can buy them in that 400 price range, once again, that's still quite affordable for most people, and it's probably the next best thing to buying a house. 449 sold last month, so that's a lot. 17 days on the market, and there it is, 400 to 500, almost 40% of the market. Drops right off from 5 to 600, which is 20% of the market, drops off again, $600,000 to $700,000. So you can see, even to this day, there's a lot of townhouses that do come up in that 400 to 500, but every one that I've seen come up, it does sell relatively quickly, and many of them are going for competing offers. So here we are for apartment condos. This is a new record for absorption rate, 94.76%. Absolutely incredible to see that almost all the condos that were listed sold last month. We're up 17% year over year at a benchmark price of $337,700. But again, put that into perspective. I mean, a lot of other markets in Canada, you can't get into a condo for in the 300s. So this is still looked upon as so inexpensive to a lot of other markets. We're at 337 also, or sorry, we're at 330,000 for the whole year. And there's the chart that shows all the way back from 2015, where you can see that was the record then. We had those dark years, and then of course it's just really taken off, and there's no end in sight. We sold 814 condos last month. Many of them are going for multiple offers as well. There's quite a demand, especially the first-time buyers trying to get into the market. 23 days on the market, and you can see right here, almost all the condos. I mean, this is almost the entire market is between $200,000 and $400,000. It just drops right off, and you can see we don't have a huge market for luxury condos. Even recently I was talking to a seller that's got a condo that he wanted to sell in the $600,000 range and really wanted to push the envelope on pricing. We just don't have that kind of a market in Calgary that's high demand. We've only had 24 sell, so far this year in that $600,000 to $700,000 range. The demand is all here in that $200,000 to $400,000 range. And so consider that when you're looking at condos as an investment. Consider that if you're a first-time buyer. These are great properties to enter the market, and even just really good holding properties and make good rental properties as well. And I've noticed there's a lot of developments now that are building and they're going to rental, and that's really a concern for me as well. When it's our job to help Canadians get into properties and own them. Rental for most people is something you do until you're in a position to buy. And I think almost everybody has a goal, if you're renting, to be able to own a property. And so it's a little disturbing that they're making all these properties to rent. And it'd be helpful to see more inventory come in the market if some of these builders would sell these as opposed to keeping them for rental. But we're seeing more and more of that in Calgary, which is a little bit concerning. So I'll wrap up this video by saying what I always say. You just need a strategy in this kind of a market. You really do. And I would invite any of you, if you're watching this video, if you're selling, believe me when I tell you, this is it's not just putting something on the MLS. I sometimes get feedback, well, I just put it on the MLS and you get a bunch of offers, so it's going to sell. That's true. But you could do it for probably a little bit more successfully if you do have a strategy. Give you a quick example of one that I just recently sold. We got 9 offers, and the highest offer was $60,000 over the ask price. My seller was quite happy with that, but we managed to get one of the offers to go up even past that, and it turned out that we got $100,000 over the ask price. Those kind of things happen when you know what you're doing. And on the flip side, when I'm representing a buyer, I'm wearing a different hat. My job now is to be able to represent the buyer and try to get favorable terms and favorable price to that buyer, for the buyer. And that's why I mentioned, trying to get properties off market, or try to get an offer in quickly and say the right things and do the right things to have the seller maybe look at an offer quickly, as opposed to waiting a week and getting a whole bunch more. There's ways you can work around this. I'm not saying I'm successful every single time at doing this, but I've had a lot of experience in this business. After 25 years, I've learned a thing or two. This is a challenging market, no doubt, definitely for the buyers. But if you want to reach out to me, I will definitely give you some guidance on that. I also wrote a book on this. I have a book that I wrote on selling secrets. I also wrote a book on how to buy properties without paying too much. And I'll give you a copy of my book. You'll find the information in there is very, very helpful, especially in a market like we're in now. So hopefully the video has been helpful, and we'll see you all next month.